right, HBCU Legends fans, as well as Black Sports Insiders. I have a guy that's always been on the inside, and he always knows how to bring it with the pen and with the interviews. And it's my main man, Mr. Wilton Jackson. What's going on, Wilt?
What's going on, Kyle? I'm glad you invited me on. It's been too long. I feel like it's been months since we talked for a little bit.
Yeah, it has, man. You've been too busy, man. You've been WNBA, NBA. You've been jet sitting here, jet sitting there. I'm like, oh man, sure.
Hey, man, I'm just on the grind, just trying to get it, man, just like you are.
Yeah, you do a great job. If you guys don't know Wilton Jackson, he puts it down all the time. You were doing some stuff for the SEC at one time, right?
Yep, that's for the Knicks Hoops. So with the Knicks Hoops, it's a women's basketball platform that covers women's college basketball as well as the WNBA. So with the college hoop side, I'm covering mostly SEC, and then sometimes I'll sprinkle in some other things on the women's hoop side for Anscape with SWAC and MEAC basketball, and then also with the Knicks Hoops, the Atlanta Dream, and then also with the Atlanta Dream, I've been doing some coverage about them for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution as well. So that's why you hadn't seen me that much.
Busy.
I've been all over the place.
That's okay, man. Doing it for the AJC, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, man. I can't tell you how many times I picked up that paper when I was at Morehouse, forced to be able to write something about what was put out there, Yeah. But to have Orlando Ledbetter, he's over, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. You're talking about a legendary NFL writer covering the Falcons. He has his podcast that, I've listened to quite some time. I mean, he's well known at the AJC. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, Orlando does it right, man. And he's just one of those guys. Now, if I'm not mistaken, also he's a Howard grad too, right?
Yes, he is. He is a Howard grad.
Man, those Howard grads putting it down in communications, man.
Oh, yeah.
Steve White, Jim Trotter, all those guys. Yeah, so that's great. Well, look, I wanted to grab you because I hadn't been able to attend the SWAC Media Day. Were you at the SWAC Media Challenge as well, the kickoff?
So I didn't get a chance to go to that press conference, but I will be at the SWAC MEAC Challenge, the game in August in Atlanta.
Okay, all right. But I wanted to talk to you about the SWAC Media Day, Football Media Day. If you guys don't know, the SWAC Media Day took place in Birmingham, Alabama. Dr. Charles McClellan spoke. He gave a preview of what they would call the SWAC TV digital platform that will be streaming, and there's an app that you can download as well. So a lot of people have been very, very excited about this, and I wanted to get your thoughts as far as the tone in the room and what other people, especially the media professionals, thought about it.
From the consensus of what I gathered from talking to people, I think people like it. I think the biggest thing is they want to make sure that it remains consistent, because sometimes you see different platforms come in and you have the games that are aired and things like that. But are not only are these games going to be aired, but are they going to be aired and produced the right way? And what I mean by that is, of course, the game itself is going to be produced the right way, but more so of like, will the culture surrounding the games be added? Like, how many times have we seen games where it's like, it can sometimes be just a game, but like, are we going to get some of the other things? Like, we're going to get, some of the behind the scenes coverage that really makes the HBCU culture what it is. Because you can ask any HBCU fan, they want to know about, their favorite teams, what they're doing on Saturday, but they also they want to know some of the things that's going on, maybe like in a tailgate or the culture, just things surrounding that particular school. I can almost guarantee you ask 1 in 5 people, nearly probably all 5 will tell you they still care about that just as much as the games. But I think overall, to your point, everybody's excited about this platform. It gives another platform for people to watch games beyond just, HBCU Go, of course, beyond the games that are televised within ESPN's linear platforms. Like one of those games, obviously the MEAC SWAC Challenge, Celebration Bowl, and a few other games sprinkled in between. But I think it gives another opportunity for more exposure. And more so consistent exposure throughout the season. That's what you're going to get with the new TV platform.
Yeah. Of course, when you talk about the behind the scenes, people talk about the pageantry, but also people like to know what's happening with the players, what's happening with the coaches, what's going on with the history, and all of that makes up the fabric, what we call HBCU sports, especially HBCU football. right? That's really key. But Dr. McClellan said a couple of things that I don't know if people really caught this. And when he said we'll have a chance to be able to go back and be able to watch like the 1984 game against Alcorn State and Southern University and going to the archives and things to that nature. That was being warehoused before by ESPN. And I think if you saw also the ESPN schedule, it's not as long as it was because now everything's coming to that SWAC TV platform. I think this was crucial that we own our own content.
Yep.
And I like it very much so. And the SWAC has a plethora of content that people would always go back to be able to look at, man. So that's what I was more pleased with, being able to know that archived information and that data in those old games will be available for us, the public.
Absolutely. I'm glad you just mentioned that because I can't tell you how many times, and disclaimer, I'm only 32 years old, but I can't tell you how many times I've been in circles around HBCU football, especially during college football season, where it doesn't come up where a previous game between Jackson State and Mississippi Valley, Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium, 1984, this game here, Mississippi Valley versus Alcorn, it's always, every single year, it's always a historical game that comes up when we start looking at these teams that have really big fan bases in terms of that turn out for like the games each week. So we start talking about that, and typically it comes up in that way. Like I remember when Jerry Rice played for Mississippi Valley. I remember this game and what it meant to the HBCU fabric. And so getting a chance to be able to kind of go back and maybe watch some of those older games in that particular standpoint is going to be a good thing. And I think it'll give people an opportunity to just kind of see and go back and reminisce. Because sometimes people, of course, they want to know what's going on right now, but they also want to kind of reminisce on what it was like during their time attending their respective HBCUs.
Man, it's just great. You get to see Doug Williams. You get to see Steve McNair in his heyday as well. Bruce Eugene.
Yeah,
people I don't know. Bruce Eugene was.
I know him.
Right. Those are the things that people need to be able to see, Will, and be able to say, "Man, we really had laid down some great history,
great talent too."
Yeah, great talent that came out of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, man. So I like that fact. Let's talk about the coaches and the players that you were able to meet. Any takeaways that kind of grabbed your attention when you had those conversations?
I think for me, I didn't get a chance to talk to every single coach how I wanted to, but I got a chance to talk to Coach Graves at Southern, and he always has something funny to say about when you ask him questions. He's just a funny guy, great coach, great all around person. One of the first questions I asked him was, I said, "Are y'all going to be the Cardiac Cats again, where it's like you think Southern's out of a game, and then all of a sudden they find a way to
fourth quarter?"
And he looked at me and smiled. He said, "You know what? At the end of the day, a win is a win, and we'll take a win any day." But I think that that's a team that a lot of people every year coming into the season, there's a lot of question marks about like what is Southern going to look like, or more so specifically the SWAC West in general, right? We kind of know the East is like we would consider like the Iron Curtain, because FAMU is going to be around somewhere, Jackson State is going to be around somewhere, and Alabama State essentially is going to be around somewhere. Those are those are the big three. But now you have a Sam Shade at Alabama A&M, and that's one of my sleeper teams. Like that's a team that I feel like in their first season, I'm not saying never go out and say they're going to win the SWAC East, but I definitely think they're going to shake some things up. But specifically in the West, and talking to Coach Graves, like he's really excited about what his players are, or what they're going to bring to the field. And of course, SWAC preseason defensive player of the year, Kelby Givens. I mean, my gosh, he thought he was a dog last year. If I'm a quarterback, running back coming out of the backfield, I am not looking forward to him meeting me in the backfield. Hopefully, he never meets me in the backfield if you're in any one of those positions. But you can see that just his personality, the player he is off the field, great guy, even better on the field. So I'm interested to see what things will look like, specifically on both the SWAC East and the West. But I mean, for me, it's always intriguing of what the West will look like.
Yeah, those kids came real dapper, man. Everybody had their suits on, looking real good.
Alabama A&M's their maroon suits, like how the way they were dressed, I thought they stood out pretty well too. Mississippi Valley too, they had like the green suits. I thought that was really nice too. But everybody was suited and booted, but those are the two that I feel like really stood out to me the most.
Yeah, look, and Mickey Joseph came stepping out with his gold.
Oh, he did.
I was like, Mickey, you look like you were part of the New Orleans mob back in the day, man. Yep. So everybody looked really, really good. Yep. Here in Houston, the clash between Prairie View, Texas Southern.
That was one of the coaches I got a chance to talk to.
And I was just like, I've interviewed both of them, know those guys pretty well. But Tremaine Jackson brings a good energy, but Chris Dishman has a solid confidence in his guys as well. And everybody got their first chance to really speak to quarterback KJ Cooper. What are your thoughts?
I think that we're going to see a different KJ Cooper this year. When I talked to Coach Dishman, one of the biggest things he said was, the expectations obviously is to come in to win. But more so than anything, the one thing that he's really, really excited about is that the added depth that he has on this team. He talked about how there were so many games last year that he wished he had some other players that were able to fully step in and get into those roles, because that probably would have saved them in a lot of games that they could have potentially still been in and or have potentially won.
Yeah, there were just a couple of games out of it.
Yep.
So, I mean, those were some – and I recall two games that they were in it to the fourth quarter and they lost it, and Southern was one of them. So
exactly, it was, and we talked about that. And so he said one of the biggest things that he's looking forward to is being able to have that depth, but then also a more mature and relaxed KJ Cooper, a guy that he knows that can get the ball to his receivers, get the ball downfield, but also not trying to win it by himself. Making sure he stays within the game plan. I think that according to what he told me, he basically said that he's expecting, KJ to be a lot more mature, better in terms of leading the offense, and just looking to see, or fans can expect to see, a different Texas Southern, more mature team that can kind of get over the hump with the extra added depth this season.
Look, I remember when it was a spring game and KJ Cooper was on the sideline, and this is when he was being recruited. And we were like, "Who are you?" And Ralph Cooper and I were looking up at him, and Cooper's already tall. And he's like, "Who are you, man?" And he's a very quiet kid, but you can see now he's kind of breaking out of that, and he is the leader for Texas Southern, as no question, because last year he had that competition with Jace Wilson and a couple other guys. Right. But KJ Cooper looks the part to be the leader in the locker room for the Texas Southern Tigers. And guys, he has a great arm. He can spin it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. As long as he stays healthy, and that's another thing that Coach talked about, making sure the reinforcements on the offensive line. Like, as long as he has an offensive line that's solid, that's healthy, and he stays healthy, if he can get the ball out, it's gonna be a scary time for opposing defenses when it comes to playing Texas Southern.
Guys, he's not as big as Cam Newton, but he can run just as well. Yeah. So I saw how he just dominated Prairie View last year, and before the injury in that game. But I tell you what, if you have a healthy KJ Cooper, Texas Southern has a chance to win the wacky SWAC West.
Wacky. So, I don't even think that's the best word to describe the West. That's one word, but I mean, my gosh, every year, October, November, it gets just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this order of prediction there. Well, of course, we talked about the SWAC East. Everybody knows that the Tigers are going to be the number one favorite. Then you have FAMU, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, surprisingly fourth. And then Bethune-Cookman and Mississippi Valley State, where you have Terrell Buckley, the new head coach there. I think the only surprise, in my opinion, is the Alabama A&M at 4 versus Bethune-Cookman possibly being at number 4, because Coach Woody didn't have a good team for those guys out there in Daytona. But right now, do you see any problem with this order of predicted finish?
Honestly, in a grand scheme of things right now on July 17th, no. You could make a case for it, Bethune-Cookman, especially like last year. I remember you and I, and even when we were talking on Dr. Cavill's show at certain points at the beginning of the season, how Bethune-Cookman had a really good recruiting class last year, but it just didn't necessarily pan out on the field in terms of, production and wins. But it's obviously still a talented Bethune-Cookman team, but I think that I'm not mad at Alabama A&M being ahead there. I think an edge, I probably personally, if I had a vote, I would have probably given the edge to Alabama A&M too, just because of the favor, or I say the respect that I have for Sam Shade. And that's not any disrespect towards Coach Woody, but I just think that Shade, and I said this now, keep this going into the rest of the season. Sam Shade, Alabama A&M, that's my sleeper team. I think that right now they're number 4. But somewhere, if things get shaky between Jackson State, FAMU, or Alabama State, if there's a key injury that changes, that alters what we consider the top 3 in the East, don't sleep on Alabama A&M making a chance of that. This is also a team that he brought a lot of his players from Miles with him to Alabama A&M. So, and that was a very, very talented SIAC team. And we saw what happened at South Carolina State with bringing the players from Benedict to South Carolina State. So it's just like it can happen, and I'm actually expecting them to make some noise in the SWAC East. So right now, I don't have a issue with this order. I will say this though, I really hope that Coach Buckley at Mississippi Valley, I hope that he's able to really get some steam under this team this season. Granted, this is not a team that everybody's saying like coming into the season, oh, Mississippi Valley is going to win the SWAC East, but I do think that if with his pedigree, his coaching style, I think that they'll be able to at least make some noise in terms of just being productive, seeing them actually add on some games, because, they finally got a win against, let me not say it too loud for the FAMU people, because they
were not happy about that one.
Oh no, they were mad when that happened. But my thing is, I feel like if you're Mississippi Valley, you're looking to add to that momentum, right? You get a win like that, and now you have a new coach, new players, things of that nature. You want to be able to kind of build on that. And with a coach like Coach Buckley, I think they may be able to do that.
On the virtual interview, Coach Buckley ended it like this: buckle up for 2025.
That's a perfect way to summarize it.
Valley is rising. That's what he said, guys. He said it, and he looked very confident. Man, you could just tell. And I was talking to Coach Larry Scott today about what's happening over at the MEAC. But if you look at the MEAC and you look at the SWAC, today we got solid coaching in both of those conferences, man. You can't, there's not, I got to be honest, man. If you look at TC Taylor, Cozy, Robinson Jr., Shade, Woody, Buckley, that's solid in the East. Then you go to the West, you got Graves, you got Thomas, you got Jackson, Dishman, Joseph, and Hampton. Man, those are solid coaches. That makes it more exciting, guys.
and it just makes you, if you when you look at it and you say it like that, it's like if they are solid coaches, which they are, it's just really the matter of like really getting their players to buy into the concepts of what they're trying to do on the field. Like I was actually, like I said, at SWAC Media Day having a conversation with some people. There is not, I don't think it's one coach in the SWAC that has more pure energy than Alonzo Hampton. I mean, when that man talks, like if I'm a player, I'm dialed in. I'm listening to him. Like I'm very much listening to him. Like anytime when he's on the SWAC media call, or even just I've seen him, talking to players or even people in the media. Like he's just tuned in. He's locked in every time for any interview or anything like that. And his personality is contagious. Now it's just a matter of how can you really embed this into your players to win games at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
He's been like that since day one, man. And I won't be surprised if Pine Bluff is near that 3 or 4 toward the end of the season. I'm just saying it. Now, let's go Southern University. Of course, they were the SWAC West champions and represented in the SWAC championship game. Unfortunately, the Cardiac kids had a heart attack on the field at the vet. And it wasn't quite the same, but Alcorn State at number 2. Last year they were at number 2 as well, right?
Yep.
And Cedric Thomas, he feels more confident in this team. He said we had to go through an evaluation process of our team, and we had to be able to look at why are these guys up there and we are not. And he said we had to get bigger and heavier, especially on the line, than where we were before. So they went in and recruited some bigger, stronger guys than before. So that Alcorn State team looks pretty good. Now, would you put them at number 2 over Texas Southern or Grambling or Prairie View? I don't know. That's the mystery behind Southern right now. It's just a total mystery. What do you have? Because Texas Southern can easily be vaulted up there with Chris Dishman, but that first game between these two with the Labor Day Classic, the 40th Labor Day Classic,
right?
That's going to be the telltale sign how these guys are going to go through the rest of the season, in my opinion. Because last year, after Prairie View lost that game, the season was lost.
It was.
I think mentally lost in a lot of those players as well.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. When I look at the SWAC West, and as you broke it down, which I thought that you did an excellent job, I think that I would still lean with Southern being number 1 just for the fact that they were the runner-ups to the SWAC champs. So I would still keep them at number 1 for now. And the one thing about this, and we talk about this all the time, it's a preseason poll. Right. This is not the middle season poll or the third week, 4th or 5th week poll or the end of the season poll. It's just the preseason. And so I think that you don't go wrong with giving the SWAC champion and the runner up to the SWAC champion those number 1 spots. But anywhere between 2 and 3, if you wanted to change something, Alcorn is at number 2, PV is at number 3, Texas Southern is at number 4. What we also know is that Prairie View had a very strong recruiting class amongst SWAC schools. Now, granted, we also know that just because you have a strong recruiting class doesn't necessarily mean it's going to equate to wins all the time. But if you wanted to switch and you had a bold idea to say, I have 1,000% faith that Tremaine Jackson is going to change the landscape of Prairie View in year 1, you could put them potentially over Alcorn. So if that was the case, you're looking at Southern 1, Prairie View number 2, and then you're going back and forth about Alcorn and Texas Southern at number 3. Personally, I would probably put, considering where we are right now, I would say Alcorn at number 3, then Texas Southern number 4. But I wouldn't be surprised if it flipped based off of the depth that has been added at Texas Southern and also the changes that have been made under Coach Thomas at Alcorn. And so then, of course, there's Grambling and Arkansas Pine Bluff, which in their own right are going to be teams that are going to challenge all of them. So I think that right now, the beauty of this, it's preseason. After the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, we'll start to know and see which of these teams really will be the Mac of the SWAC. Okay.
I will put something boldly out there, and I know this is going to probably stir up some controversy. But I believe by week 6, we're going to have Texas Southern and PV fighting for that number 1 spot.
Oh, yeah, you are stirring some controversy. Southern fans are going to come for you.
I'm Southern bred, baby.
Yeah.
I'm a Jaguar by heart. My dad is Jaguar. So it's not any disrespect on my Jaguars, but I just believe this season, Chris Dishman looks awfully confident. Guys.
Yeah. And honestly, I know it's a bold statement right now because, obviously no games have been played, but it's not far-fetched. Because we know that Chris Dishman is a good coach. It's just a matter of if you have players that are just not healthy and they aren't able to play, you're playing players that aren't typically running in your offense and or defense. They're learning on the fly each week. You're not going to get the best, outcome on the field in those particular weeks. And that was pretty much Texas Southern's season in a nutshell. Yeah. And then with Prairie View and Coach Jackson, again, you talk about energy, you talk about Coach Hampton, and then you talk about Tremaine Jackson, and you talk about a coach that's confident. I don't even know if confident is a big enough word for Coach Jackson. He thrives at a different level when it comes to his confidence in himself and as a coach. And so I think that if that does happen, it wouldn't necessarily be it would be a surprise, but it would be this is a coach that we kind of expected that this could potentially happen.
Yeah. He said, Kyle, when we come down that hill into the stadium on August 30th, and you're going to hear pop, pop, you know what we mean. And but then I talked to Coach Dishman a couple of weeks after. He said, Georgia, he said Atlanta. I got Atlanta on my mind. I said, all right, Coach.
He's giving the subliminals right away.
Yeah, well, both of them, man.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see that battle starting out the gate, but then that crucial game later on the season between Southern and Alcorn is going to be very pivotal as well.
How many years has that game been game-changing in terms of potentially deciding who wins the SWAC West?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. PV has to go to Southern.
Yep.
And guess who else has to go to Southern? Texas Southern.
Yep.
Yeah. So
maybe Texas Southern gives Southern a dose of their own medicine from last year?
Yeah, well, we shall see.
Yep.
And Mickey Joseph, man, he feels good about some of his recruits. Now, I do want to cash in on something you said earlier. Sam Shade, Alabama A&M, he brought in a lot of his guys from Miles, right?
Yep.
And I had a conversation with Ty Floyd, and she was talking to me. She said, Kyle, those Miles guys, some of them have taken over positions that Alabama A&M guys had last season.
Yep.
So she says something about those Miles guys are really hitting. And guess who else? Something about Tremaine Jackson's guys from his old team, that national championship playing team.
Yep.
They're on the squad over at PV.
Yeah. I'm not
just saying.
Oh, no, I'm not shocked at all. I mean, like I said, Chennis Berry gave a very strong blueprint of that last year.
Yes.
Like we thought, the beginning of the season, you thought, okay, well, it's the first game. They might just be the first game. When we saw them play, what game was that? It was was it the FAMU game?
The FAMU game.
Yeah. When we saw how they kind of punched and moved around FAMU, it was like
won that game. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, okay, this is serious. And knowing that he brought a lot of his players from Benedict, I said, oh, this is gonna be a solid team. And you knew the type of mindset, the coaching philosophy that Coach Chennis Berry has. So if he's embedding that into his players and they're buying into it, oh, this is a very dangerous team. And then of course later on you would see that they competed in the Celebration Bowl.
Yeah, and that's why I really believe you could have either Texas Southern or PV versus Sam Shade. Or Jackson State.
Yeah.
Fighting for those spots towards the end of the season.
When I look at the West, I consider the West wacky, but with the East, it's almost like you got three giants.
Yes.
You got Jackson State as one giant, FAMU as another giant, Alabama State as another giant. And then you have Alabama A&M is okay, we're trying to take down one of these giants or all of them if that's the case. And when you look at Alabama State, it's my defense. Coach Robinson's defense is almost just deadly. I think every team that they faced in the SWAC, specifically, in the SWAC overall, I think they limited to 15, 16, 17 points.
Yeah.
They
kept them down, man. Remember that FAMU game at homecoming, and I was there. Yeah. Those guys were fighting till the end.
Yep.
Pretty much of that game until the young guy made a mistake and threw the interception.
Right.
But they have a chance, man, with that defense. Yep. Definitely.
Not only that, and it's just I talked to Coach Cozy as well, and the one word that he described to look at his team from last year, and especially some of those that came from that team that came over to this team this year, he said that he felt like his team was humble. They had that mindset of we coming into 2024. Coming off of a championship or what have you, and then it's okay, well, let's see if we could do it again. But obviously Jackson State was stronger than they had ever been before. And he said he felt like they were humble, but he thinks that this year, this team with the added players they've added, and then also some of the pieces that come back on the defensive side of the ball for them is going to be strong. And also he seemed pretty excited about getting back to being able to run the ball, because for the last maybe year or 2 years, we got to a point that we expected FAMU to be able to run the ball. And we know last year they struggled to run the ball. So
Sure
he seemed very, very excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We got Jacobian Morgan, the SWAC preseason offensive player of the year. You know that young man. Talk about him.
Oh man, Jacobian Morgan is a guy. He doesn't really say many words. He's a man of very few words. But when he's on that football field, he's locked in. I think when I got a chance to talk to him at SWAC Media Day, you can tell that there's a certain level of stronger maturity there. He's obviously still locked in with TC and what they have for him to do as far as like within the game plan. And I think that when I think about Jacobian now, it's like I'm expecting him to take another step this year as well, because in previous years we saw him step in the middle of the season. Then of course TC went with Cameron McCoy, and then of course Jacobian Morgan came back again. So now after Jacobian essentially of course along with the defense and some other pieces led this team to a Celebration Bowl and a SWAC championship, this is now his team, until otherwise said, differently, if there's another quarterback that's going to lead the way. But I'm expecting Jacobian Morgan to take a much bigger leap. And so having talked to him at SWAC Media Day, he seems excited. Like, he told me that they've put last season behind them. It was a great year. They won a SWAC championship. They won a Celebration Bowl. It was the first one for them in terms of, in the Celebration Bowl era, but they're looking to do it again. And, one thing about TC, he's about the business in terms of a coach, and the players, they really buy into his concept. And so I'm expecting Jacobian Morgan to be an even stronger leader in that locker room this season for them.
Yeah. I recall watching him at the Texas Southern game here in Houston. It was something about after that halftime or right before halftime. That's when it was, right before halftime. And I think he threw the ball to Fortillion.
Yep, Jonas Fortillion.
That was it. The kid had confidence. After that, it was a wrap pretty much, So great job for him. And we got Mr. Givens over at the Jaguars, the preseason defensive player of the year. I think that was a pretty easy one to kind of pick, and think that he has that ability to become the player of the year for the SWAC.
Oh no, absolutely, without any question. This is a guy who is a direct game changer. If you're playing Southern and you're a coach, you're an assistant, you're a head coach, you have to absolutely plan for this guy. You have to know where number one is on the field at any point in time, whether he's lined up on the left side or right side. Like, you got to know where he is. Like, his combination of power and just being able to get to the quarterback and or just being able to get to the backfield and disrupt plays is just phenomenal. And I think that you're going to only see that get more and more intense this season for Southern.
Yeah, don't let that mild-mannered demeanor fool you guys.
And the crazy thing is, I was thinking that yesterday, I was like, he's kind of mellow in just normal settings, but on the football field, totally different. All right, guys. And this is for the MEAC, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to, before we get off talking about the SWAC there, when it comes to this league and facing all the challenges with the NIL and the challenges when it comes to media is concerned and everything else, based upon how you're feeling and the tone in the room, do you feel as though the SWAC is ready to embrace this bigger role that they're going to have as the leader of HBCU sports this season? Because it's going to be a lot on their plate. I think that they are. I think one thing that I've started to learn, Kyle, about college sports specifically, especially when it comes to the moneymaker that is called college football, is that it's fluid. It changes from, I won't necessarily say it changes from day to day, but like there's always something new that's coming out, whether it's something, related obviously to NIL. Of course, we had the House settlement that has changed everything about players and things like that. So I think that the more that the leaders and the powers that be that oversee the SWAC continue to keep an open mind and what that really looks like, and then not only keeping an open mind, but also being realistic of where HBCU football, HBCU sports fits into this, I guess you could say, like, category within like the entire college sports atmosphere, right? So I think that if they're able to continue to keep an open mind to that, I think things are going to be fine. I do think, though, in a a different kind of landscape. Sometimes I feel like the SWAC and MEAC have switched a little bit. When you start talking about can the SWAC or is the SWAC ready to handle these different things? Because think about what the SWAC was dealing with in, say, 2021 and 2022 with Deion Sanders. Now, when we go to MEAC Media Day next week, it's probably going to be flooded with people. Obviously, everybody's going to want to see Michael Vick at Norfolk State. Everybody's going to want to see Deshaun Jackson at Delaware State. But people forget about the coaches at the coach at Howard, the coach at Morgan State. You forget about you don't forget, but you got Chennis Berry at South Carolina State. So that media day, and I'll actually be going. I'm interested to see what that will look like. Will it have that same tone, demeanor, say like when Coach Sanders was at Jackson State?
It's going to be a buzz.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Look, the NFL was very smart to be able to capture both of those guys and put them in M&T Stadium, right?
Yep.
They were very smart to have their teammate LaShawn McCoy to be a part of the festivities as well. They were very smart to know they needed to move that game from Delaware State to Lincoln Field.
Absolutely.
The NFL has bought into this.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some power there, but there's some dollars there.
Absolutely. I was telling somebody this, by the time that Norfolk State and Delaware State play, because that game is in November, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's later on in the season.
Let me find out. Go ahead.
I want to say, I know it's not like in like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, but I think it's later on in the season. But regardless, the point I was trying to make was if they are like one in whatever or 2 in something or whatever, when those two teams play, people are gonna come out to that game. No matter what.
Yeah. October 30th.
Okay, yeah. So it's the end of October going into November. Yep.
Yeah, that should be a great one at Lincoln Financial Field, man. To have the two legendary teammates playing against each other, man. That's pretty cool. And but I gotta say this, man. I think when you look at how people are saying, hey, they shouldn't have this or they should be doing something different. Look, man, this is the time to capitalize right now.
Yep.
Coach Vic, Coach Jackson, both of those guys have a lot of confidence. They brought in some really good staff along with them to be able to help bolster their programs that both were floundering, man. Let's just be honest about this. Those programs were suffering. There's no reason why Norfolk State should have been suffering the way they were, but they were getting out recruited. Dawson Oldham's great coach, national championship coach, yes, but he was getting out recruited. Then when you had Chennis Berry coming in, you have Trey Oliver over there, you have Larry Scott over there. They were just getting beaten down. There was no way for them to really compete, man. And even Morgan State was beating up on them, So with Damon Wilson. So this is a great game. This is going to be a great feature for the MEAC, which the MEAC needed this.
Oh, absolutely.
The MEAC financially has been suffering too.
How many times have you probably been in conversations? Because I know I've been in conversations with people wondering, like, is the MEAC still at the same level in terms of like popularity, exposure? Of course, there's always the back and forth argument. Well, the MEAC still has the better players, and they're the more physical. They have the more physical teams than the SWAC. But aside from that, it's like, do they have that same exposure that the SWAC does? And I think now with having those two coaches amongst the other coaches that are still within the MEAC, I think the playing field is a lot more even now.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's a lot of star power over in the MEAC and a lot of star power now in the SWAC, guys.
Yes.
Just look at that. These are the student athletes that will be in attendance along with their coaches at the MEAC Media Day on the 22nd, which Tiffany Green, Jay Walker will be there with LaShawn McCoy and televised there. And I'm glad you're going to have a chance to get there, so we'll get a little bit of your thoughts as well. Surprisingly, Walker Harris is still the quarterback over there at NCCU.
Yep.
That's another year of eligibility, but another year of experience. When you look at these teams, and I know we could do our own unofficial predictive order of finish.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Who will be like 1, 2, 3 in your opinion over at the MEAC?
So I'm gonna start with, like I said, with the SWAC. I'm gonna still give the respect to the reigning champion. So I'm gonna still start with South Carolina State until proven otherwise that they aren't the best team per se as the season unfolds. Now after South Carolina State, things get interesting because you have a North Carolina Central team that, with that experience and an experienced quarterback, if Trey Oliver continues to go with Walker Harris, I think if he stays healthy and really you think about some of the issues he had to deal with last year with, some offensive line things and things of that nature in North Carolina Central. If that's fixed, North Carolina Central, you could easily still put them there at number 2. But the sneaky team in all of this that had a chance to kind of shake some things up was Morgan State.
Yeah.
And it's just, physically, defense, lights out. Like Damon Wilson, lights out. Offense, if they had a quarterback, Kyle,
you just needed a quarterback.
They had a quarterback,
a
legitimate quarterback, they would be dangerous.
Yeah.
So now, go ahead.
No, I have to concur.
Yeah,
that's my 1, 2, 3 as well.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, and everybody say, "Well, the sexy pick will be Vic or Jackson." Nah, not in my opinion. No.
Yeah, I would put, and even of the two of them, I would probably put Norfolk State. Yeah, I would put Norfolk State before Delaware State, but then at number 4, you're thinking either Norfolk State or Howard. And part of me still leans towards Scott. But if I wanted to play devil's advocate, I could put Norfolk State at number 4, Howard at number 5, and then putting Delaware State at number 6. But again, the beauty of this is it's preseason.
Yeah, and after talking to Coach Scott today, I felt as though you could possibly put them at number 3 or 4.
Yep.
Right? Because I'm telling you, man, I've talked to many of coaches, guys, and Coach Scott went through his whole roster, offense, defense, and just broke down those guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's very impressive. That means he's very locked in.
Oh, absolutely. And this is July. This is not August. Like fall camp hasn't started yet.
Yeah, he's locked in. He said, Kyle, this is the first team I had my full fingerprint on.
Yep.
Since being hired in 2020,
Right.
But this is his first team that he fully recruited, and these are all his guys.
Yeah.
That means something, guys.
It does.
And so watch out for the Bison. Watch out for the Bison. Watch out for the Bears. They can play spoiler to somebody.
They've been doing that pretty much for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Man, and I was kind of surprised. Did you know that Coach Scott, when he took over that interim head coaching position over at Miami for 6 games, he went 4-2?
I remember that. I've never questioned his ability to be able to win games and coach. Like, I knew he was a solid coach. It's just a matter of when you get a new job and also knowing the landscape of the conference that you're coming to and understanding the type of players that you're going to bring into that conference and what their capabilities are for what you're trying to do within this particular program. So it was just really only a matter of time of like, can I get my players that I'm bringing in to truly buy into the concepts that I'm getting? And granted, obviously, we know Howard had a kind of an up and down season last season. They struggled with quarterback issues. Definitely had some good wide receivers. I forget the guy's name that played the defensive back, but he was really strong. Yes, Kenny Gallup. He was in their secondary, very, very good defensive back, and played a little safety, if I'm not mistaken. But my thing is, their issues centered around quarterback for them.
Yeah, and he feels as though Scroggins, with another year of maturity, will be a lot better this season for him. And think about it, and they're going to miss a lot in that defensive backfield. But he said those guys that were in waiting have been waiting.
Yeah.
And they're ready right now.
So
So
that means
they
were
lost
watching
Robert
Gallup like,
Jones.
yeah, they're like, Gallup, we love you, bro. We're ready for you to go ahead, excel, so we can get our opportunity.
It's my time, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah, look, I understand, man. I've seen that many times before. All right, well, cool. All right, I want to get your opinion on a couple of things. Let's see here. HBCU Go. Do I have the schedule? There we go. All right. Here's the schedule for HBCU Go. So some of these games are going to be on Go as well as the Grio channel as well. Right. But coming out the gate, Jackson State has never defeated Hampton.
Nope. That one of those times that I recall when they played Hampton was my childhood. And I could never understand why they struggled with him. And obviously, this was Hampton that was still in the MEAC at the time.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. And that game is at home for Jackson State.
Yeah.
So they playing in the vet, and I think that will probably give them an advantage. This is a different type of opponent now because obviously, Hampton is not in the MEAC anymore. So I'm really excited to see what that outcome is like. I honestly feel like that game, I know it's the first game, but I feel like the way that Jackson State takes that game is really going to set the tone for them and probably the HBCU landscape starting out specifically from the SWAC East.
Yeah, definitely. Then September 6th, you have Alcorn going against Alabama A&M. I think that's the Lewis Cruz Classic there. That's a big one too, guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is Sam Shades. I can't remember who Alabama plays first. Alabama A&M plays in their first game of the season. It's probably a non-conference game, but you're talking about a classic Alcorn team at your home stadium. This is where fans are going to be expecting you to get the job done. It's your first real conference game, and this is an Alcorn team that's hungry to essentially get revenge for where they were last year. You can tell when you talk to Coach Thomas that he's fired up. He's really excited about the depth that Alcorn is adding. And, with Sam Shade, you talk about a person, how you said about Gibbons at Southern kind of has this mild demeanor off the field, but on the field, it's a
different story.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know the type of team that Sam Shade is going to bring. Like Miles' defense, that's not one when he was at Miles, when he was coaching at Miles, that's not that's not a defense you wanted to face on Saturday. So if you're Alcorn, you better be prepared to see all different types of things coming from Sam Shade and what they're bringing from Alabama A&M.
Yeah. Well, their first game, they head to Arkansas, and they have to play the Razorbacks on August 30th.
Yep.
And then they go to the Lewis Cruz Classic the next game. But then they have a matchup with Tennessee State at Tennessee State.
And you know what? That Tennessee State, and now obviously Eddie George is gone. Reggie Barlow is the coach at Tennessee State. You hadn't really heard a lot about what Tennessee State is doing.
Oh, he's been doing it, man.
Listen to me. If you know anything about Reggie Barlow from his coaching days and just his days from a player, he's going to have his players locked in.
Yeah.
It seems quiet right now, but I'm expecting them to continue to build on, obviously, Reggie Barlow adding to what Tennessee State had built last year, because I can remember in the early part of the season, we were thinking, is Tennessee State for real? We started to see them win a couple games, then they kind of slid for maybe a week or two, and we were like, okay, this is that slump that Tennessee State is about to take. But it turned out to be good. It turned out, them winning a share of the Big South OVC, and then getting to the playoffs. So I'm really hoping that Reggie Barlow, in his own way, with his staff and what he brings to that program, can kind of continue to elevate Tennessee State, because this is a program that had traditionally been strong. They had some years down, and I think that if Reggie Barlow knows anything after watching Eddie George at Tennessee State, hopefully the fans will come out and support a little bit more as well.
Yeah, they will. And Reggie Barlow, I remember when he broke the news that Coach Williams is going to be his defensive coordinator on HBCU Legends. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
man. And you see what the defenders were able to do. They won the championship even without him. He laid the great foundation, and that's what he was saying. Hey, he felt confident that they would continue on and they would have a win, and they did just that. So, a couple other key games: Jackson State against Alabama A&M. Looks like Alabama A&M is weaving some foundational thread around here with this HBCU Go schedule. When they face Jackson State at Jackson State on October 4th, that's going to be a big one as well.
Oh, no, it is. This is a game that, you remember when I said the East has like these giants. And Jackson State is the main giant right now coming into the season, obviously winning the SWAC and winning the SWAC East crown. This is the Alabama A&M team that, again, led with the coach, with Sam Shade, some experience from players that were on the team last year, but then also bringing over that experience from players that he brought over from Miles. So I think that, again, this is a Jackson State team. Not so much last year, but the year before last, there were times where you could remember TC, even in this past season, that there were times where when Jackson State would play at home, they would struggle. They would start slow. And on the road, they would start out fast. They didn't necessarily have to deal with that last year, but this is a game for sure. They would not want to start out slow. They would definitely want to be prepared to face a really, really dangerous, or should be a potential dangerous team in Alabama A&M.
Okay. October 18th, and not to skip over this October 11th matchup, NCCU against FAMU. That's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got PB against Southern. That is definitely going to be a game with postseason implications right there.
Not even postseason implications, but you're going to have all types of trash talk over there as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
that news is going to be jumping, man.
Oh, my gosh. To be on the bluff for that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Then you have Jackson State and Grambling throwing down in Las Vegas on the 25th with the inaugural HBCU Las Vegas Classic. That I think I wanted to take that trip, and they have the ticket prices have been doing very, very well. So, guys, if you want to be there in Vegas, I also heard that a lot of the hotel rooms have already been taken up.
Oh yeah,
you guys, that's a game. That's
a game. Oh, absolutely. No, that's a game that you don't want to miss. My thing is, I just hope that both of these coaches keep the players out of these casinos and everything that Vegas has to offer. I need them to be locked in and ready to play on game day.
All right. Then Alcorn going into Texas Southern in H-Town at Shell Energy Stadium on November 1st. That's a pivotal game as well, guys. And then you have your APB and Florida A&M. Man, that's a good clash. That's going to happen on the 8th. Then, of course, Woody against TC Taylor on the 15th at the Vet. The CIAA Championship. I still think the front runner will be Dr. Parker as well as Dr. Frazier. Those two guys will keep on clashing.
You got to love them.
Yeah, and one of those two or both of them will be in that game there. And this is the game that people kind of looking over, man. But I think it is going to be one of these games. It could decide who goes on to the SWAC championship for the SWAC West, in my opinion. Yeah. If Texas Southern can win this game against Sam Shade, his first time being in Houston and playing against the Tigers, if Texas Southern is in the running, this game has to be a must-win game for them.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, it has to be a must-win, but that also tells you if it comes to that, that means Alabama A&M probably had a strong season in the SWAC East as well.
Yeah.
Especially if it comes down to like Texas Southern wins this game, we win the SWAC West.
Yeah. Well, all in all, man, they still have to play the games.
Oh, right? Absolutely. Yep. And this is what we love about college football. It's July 17th. It's we're going into the dog days of the summer, right before fall camp start. Like you could just, it's gonna sound crazy, but the grass even smells different as it goes in from July to August. And it's just like once you start smelling a little different outside, like you smell the grass, it's just a little bit different. Like you just know football season is in the air.
Yeah, it's so funny because I was talking to Ralph Cooper and we were like, "Oh man, Mosley, it's 90 days left." man, I was looking pretty. I said, Coop, do you know it's less than 50 days now?
Mm-hmm.
Kickoff is here, baby.
Yeah.
Kickoff is here and around the corner. All right, Will. And looking at Tennessee State, guys, they could be the national champions for HBCU with Reggie Barlow, or will it be TC Taylor as well as the Jackson State Tigers going back to back this season? Or could we have a dark horse coming out of the East or coming out of the MEAG or the SWAC? We don't know. Right now, it's all fun. It's all conjecture and it's all what we believe in our teams. But I really believe this is going to be a great season for HBCU football. What do you think?
No, I'm excited, Kyle. I'm excited to be at a lot of these games this fall. I think we're going to have so many different teams competing at a high level. I don't think it's going to be any shortage of fun, excitement, good teams playing good football. Of course, the pageantry, the bands, all that, the things that really make up HBCU culture. I think we're going to really get all of that then more in this 2025 football season.
Yeah, can't forget the Battle of the Bands. The national championship will take place the night before the Celebration Bowl. So last year, Florida A&M won, and they have a historic drum major. She's going to be the head drum major.
Yeah, the first female head drum major.
Head drum, yeah. Isn't that something? Now, the thing is, I just found this out. She was at Howard for a spell, and she was drum major over there.
Yep, she was. She very much was.
Wow. Okay.
You're making history.
History all around. And then another person making history who is near and dear to my heart, Ty Floyd. She's going to be the play-by-play announcer. Yeah. And we'll have her interview as well as Dawn Thornton's interview on Saturday morning. I was going to have it on Thursday night, but I'm going to have it on Saturday morning conversation so you guys get to hear Dawn Thornton, who's up there at, I think she's at the All-Star game, WNBA All-Star game. I say, Coach, you're everywhere.
That's how she likes it. She prefers it to be that way.
Yeah. Can't keep her down, man. She's such a great person. All right. Well, tell everybody how they can be able to follow you on social media and the World Wide Web.
You can follow me on Twitter at Wilton Reports, and then also on Instagram at Wilton Reports _. On TikTok, it's going to be Wilton Reports as well.
TikTok. My son is on TikTok. He said, Dad, you got to get on TikTok.
Got to get on TikTok.
I'm trying. It's just too much. I can't write. I can't do the video. I can't do all this and get on TikTok too, man.
Got to find a way, a couple days a week to just play around with it.
Then he said, you got to get on Twitch. I said, I'm done. No.
It's so many, man. It is so many.
Yeah. Well, guys, don't forget you can follow HBCU Legends at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, as well as you can follow me, Kyle T. Mosley, at KTMOZE on those platforms as well. Will, I appreciate you, man. It's so good. I'm so happy we had a chance to kind of chat it up because it's been too long, my buddy.
It has been. And like I said, I know we'll get a chance to chat couple more times or probably pretty often throughout the season, but I'm glad that you brought me on. And like I said, football season is around the corner. I'm glad to be back, man.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, don't forget, go out there and support your alumni base or support with purchasing tickets to the games. Those are very important. It's the lifeblood of some of our HBCU programs, and they need your support. They need you in the stands just to be there. If you don't want to be in the stands, give the tickets away, but support one way, shape, or form. Okay? All right. I'm Kyle T. Mose. That's Wilton Jackson. Wilt, appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Later.